Hey guys, this is Caleb with Caleb's Catches. Today I'm going to be doing that slip bobber tutorial. It's just such a versatile and necessary rig to know that I think it's time for a video. I've had a lot of success with it in the past weeks, and I even went fishing last night and had a great time with it. Caught multiple yellow bass, we caught crappie. I mean, slip bobber rig puts in the work, especially in the wintertime and when those fish are deeper. So without further ado, here we go. Alright guys, so pretty sure y'all can see all this. So this is what you'll need. You'll have to have a slip bobber. Most of the time I fish at night, so this has a glow stick attached to it. You'll need a bead, doesn't matter what size, as long as it's enough to block the bobber from going through the holes. And then you'll need your bobber stop. I'm using the string one. Then I've got size 5 Ozark Trail split shots. You'll need a barrel swivel. This is a size 3. I've got a 1/0 octopus hook, which I'll be using 2 of those. You can also replace one of those with a feather jig. Just depends on how you want to run the rig. So without further ado, here we go. All right, so let's get this stuff organized a little bit. For starters, we got to start by putting our slip on there. So we're going to find the line right here, and we're going to bring it through. You just bring it through here, and then when you've got enough through there, just slide the string off onto the line. The black piece pulls off, and you're going to cinch this down. Pull both sides, and it will make a little knot. You want to try to get that knot as small as possible. So if you can get it really small, it's probably your best bet. Okay? So we've got our bobber stop on there now, and we'll trim the excess here in a second. Boop, right there. Okay, so we've got our bobber stop. And this can just slide up and down the line wherever you need it, depending on the depth. So, for instance, if I want to fish 10 feet deep, I pull out 10 foot of line and slide this thing up to the 10-foot mark, and then everything else, once the bobber hits the water, you'll have it go all the way down, and that 10 foot deep, it'll pop straight up, and you'll be fishing 10 foot deep. But you won't have to have 10 foot of line out, which makes it nice to cast. Next, you'll put your bead on. That just slides right down the line. And we're not actually just gonna, now you'll put your slip bobber on here. Goes through the top hole. Because you want your glow stick to be facing the top. And it comes right out the bottom, if y'all can see that there. You'll just pull that up to the bead. All right, guys, so next you'll just need a barrel swivel. So you'll put it through the top hole, bring enough line. You can do whatever knot you want. I'm just gonna do a small little palmer knot here. Make sure you keep tension on it. That way you don't drop it. You bring the loop underneath for the palmer knot, and then you bring the barrel swivel through that loop. Make sure you're holding both lines tight. Wet the line because it's monofilament for this one. And look, now we got that tied on. So we cut our little excess tag end off. Boom. Now this isn't going anywhere now, if y'all see that. It's just going to hit that and stop. So now we need our leader line. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. So you can use whatever you want. I use 12-pound super fluorocarbon. And however much of a leader you want, I usually do somewhere between 2 and 3 feet. Sometimes a little bit deeper if I'm going down to the river. So just cut you a little bit of leader line. And then what you're going to do, you're going to grab the other side. And we can't do a palmer knot since you can't bring it through again. So on this side, I always just do a couple underneath overhand knots. And then I cinch it down with a shoelace knot after the fact. Just trying to give a brief bit of my terminology here for these knots. Your knots don't have to be fancy. Just as long as it holds, that's what matters. Big point, if you're using anything other than braid, make sure you wet the line so it gets its stretch it needs and it adheres to the proper point. Okay, so now we've got our leader line attached. Cut the little tag end off. So now with our leader line, we've got that probably about 2-3 foot right here. We're going to grab our octopus hooks. I'm going to bring it all the way up through here. I want one probably closer to about a foot up from the other one. I also have this as a finder rig. So if you're using a slip bobber, you're already fishing deep. My thinking is always go with 2 hooks on your rig and sometimes 2 different types of bait. So if you're using live bait, use a minnow on one, worm on another. If you're using want to use artificials, my favorite rig is by far the feather jig with a live minnow at the bottom, because the live minnow moves around the feather jig and it's just a great rig all around. So now we've got one octopus hook on. We're going to grab the other octopus hook, do the same thing, except it's going to be at the bottom of the rig, obviously. So I want that to be about there. We're going to, I just do a fisherman's knot, which is about, I do 9 or 10 spins. You bring it through the loop, for those who don't know. Creates a little loop down here, if y'all can see that. Also got all the weight of the bobber stop and everything else though, so it can be a little tricky to get that through the hole. So you bring it through that hole right there that you just created, and then you bring it back through the big hole that you were holding. Hold both of those lines, wet them. Then you're going to cinch that down, pull the top of the hook, make sure your line goes down snug, and now we've got our hook set up. We got one more thing to do and you'll have successfully done a slip bobber rig. So next you need to take 1 or 2 split shots. It depends on the weight of the bobber you're using. If you're using a small slip bobber, you only need 1 weight. If you're using a bigger one, you probably want to go with 2. But you use 1 weight to start with normally. So I've got the 1 weight right here, and you're going to put that about center between the top hook and the barrel swivel. So I bring that through, I grab my pliers, I'm going to cinch this down onto the line. Forgive me guys, I'm not left-handed. Okay, so that is now on the line. It shouldn't pull out or go anywhere. Just so y'all see this, the slip comes through the guides. So right here, you now have the slip, and that'll go into your reel and allow you to fish deep. So the final piece should look like this. You should have the bobber stop with the bead at the top. Your slip is probably going to be somewhere down underneath, because most of the time you're not tying a slip bobber rig unless you're fishing at least 6-7 feet deep, because you can cast 5 foot of line pretty easy from the bank. You got your barrel swivel, you got your weight, and you got your 2 hooks of choice. And now you just add bait and you're good to go. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial of how to tie a slip bobber, and I hope y'all get out there and catch some good ones like I have. It can be definitely the game changer as far as if you're having that day where you're out there fishing, haven't got a bite all day, you might just want to try tying on a slip bobber and try different depths. The fish may not be where you think they are. So guys, this is Caleb with Caleb's Catches. If that subscribe button's red, make sure it's gray so you don't miss any of this upcoming content. And just let y'all know, in the next month or so, we're probably going to have some good kayak videos coming soon. So I thank y'all all so much for your support. The channel is growing greatly, and I hope y'all just continue to enjoy the content. Well, this is Caleb's Catches reminding you, we're here to teach the world to fish, one cast at a time.